In the next few moments, I'm going to share with you a single piece of paper that has been worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to my company. Check it out. I was sitting with one of my mentors. His name's Keith Cunningham. And I told him that my grand plan was to write a book. Maybe you've thought about writing a book as well. And he said to me, Tim, what's the business case for writing this book? And I said, oh, well, it's going to build credibility. It'll help build our list. It's what everybody else seems to be doing, so it's just the next step. He said, okay, well, how would you monetize the book? And I said, okay, well, I would probably use it to help get more people into a high-end program that I have. He said, okay, what's the maximum number of people, given everything you've got going on in your business, what's the maximum number of people you can handle in that program in the next 12 months? And I said, oh, probably about 10. So he started drawing what you see on the screen here, and he wrote 10 right there. He said, okay, your high-end program, what are you charging for that? And I said, $10,000 for the year. He said, okay, multiply by 10,000, and that gives us about $100,000 in extra sales. Now, Tim, what's your gross profit on that? And I said, well, all I got to do is fly to the location, rent the hotel room. We don't cover flights or accommodations or food for anybody else, so it's pretty much 100% straight to the bottom line. He said, okay, I'll let you have it. I'll let you have all 100%. Even though that's not accurate, I'll let you keep it. Now, what would happen, Tim, if instead of doing this book, which is going to take you 5-6 months to write, if you're going to do a really good job, if you want nice artwork and a nice jacket and printing and all the rest, I mean, it's really going to monopolize your time, energy, and talent. What if instead of writing the book, you doubled down on Great Assistant, this program that you've been building and has been gaining more and more momentum? So Keith went ahead and he drew this line down the middle and he said, all right, Great Assistant. Tell me, Tim, what's the maximum number of clients that you can handle per month when you're thinking about the next year? And I said, given our current team, probably about 12 clients. He says, okay, 12. And what is like the lower end of what you charge per match? And I said, well, if someone does the one pay and they take advantage of some of our offers and whatnot, let's say $3,500. He said, okay, so 12 a month times $3,500 right there is $42,000 times 12 months is $504,000 a year. Now, what's your gross margin on that, Tim? And I said, about 71%. He said, okay, so for easy figuring, we're going to take $504,000 of sales. We're going to multiply it by 70%, so 0.7, and that's going to be your gross profit. And it works out to $350,000. I sat back stunned. Here I was about to go and spend the next 5, 6, 7 months writing a book in best case scenario, not best case scenario, not worst case scenario, but let's just say the realistic scenario was about an extra $100K worth of gross profit. And here, in just a few moments, Keith has drawn out how I can enjoy, instead of $100K in gross profit, $350,000 in gross profit. And this single diagram with this single line of strategic thinking it took Keith and I maybe 15 minutes to go through this. And that single decision has been worth hundreds of thousands of dollars to my company in this year alone. So this brings us back to the idea of strategic CEO thinking. That's what Keith and I were doing when we drew this up. Strategic CEO thinking is right here on the 5 levels of 80-20, up in this territory right here. You know, this kind of zone right here is the kind of CEO strategy type thinking that we were doing on that day to decide what's the direction of this company for the next 90 days, for the next 6 months, for the next year. Big time CEO strategy. Now, here's the thing is it also required me to have a certain amount of skills and tools. I mean, I needed to understand the difference between sales and gross profit and net profit. I needed to know how to even calculate my gross profit in the first place. So those CEO level skills and tools were kind of a second part of it. The first is that I had to have the guidance, obviously, to even think in those terms. The second is I had to have the skills and tools. And the third was I had to have the time and the energy and the space in my calendar to even zoom out to be able to do that CEO level strategy in the first place. If I was perpetually running around down in this part of my business all day, every day, processing invoices and customer service and answering emails nonstop, I would have never had the time to go and spend some time up here doing CEO strategy. So you might say, well, Tim, that's great, except I am stuck down here. I'm down in this area and I'm struggling every day just to get stuff out the door, really, whether that's a service or a product. There's just so much to do on a day-to-day basis. So part of that, I'm going to challenge you a bit in your thinking. Part of that is your thinking. Part of that is when I hear someone say, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, and sometimes that person is myself. What I'm really saying and what you might be saying is I'm not willing to make it a priority. So there's certainly that part. There's a mechanical part though. The reason that you don't have the time and the energy to go and do the CEO strategy to help you find these massive points of inflection in your business could also be because you just don't have an engine room in place to get things done for you. So the engine room is what this is. I released this a couple years ago. This is Engine Room 2.0 from 2015. 2017, I'm about to release the latest version of Engine Room, and I'm going to teach it this year at the 80/20 Summit. So you can see here that the bottom half of the engine room at the bottom, produce is what the bottom half is about, is where the work gets done. And the more that we can get you out of the bottom half and get you into the top half, now guess what? You can do things like where my cursor is right here, 80/20 thinking. You can do things like where my cursor is right here, strategic planning, right? And you can do things like you see right here is pay more time spending attention on financials and dashboards and whatnot. If you want to learn how to build your own engine room, I encourage you to come to the 80/20 Summit this year. When I look at some of the success stories from last year, it's truly amazing. This is the event website. You can see where my cursor is here, the8020summit.com. The themes this year are keep more profit, build structure, hire the right team, and make your business run with less of your time. And when I take a look at who came last year, when I take a look at this event photo of the 40 people who came last year, I know in this video, and obviously I don't know what's happened for everybody, but I've got a little bit of an idea for most people what's happened for them. There's at least one guy in this picture that did a $1 million deal with somebody else also in this picture. There's someone in this picture who took their business from a few million in sales to in excess of 10 million in sales. There's a guy in this picture who his sales went 2.5 times higher because that by his report is tied directly back to insights and decisions from what he learned at last year's summit. So when we talk about power-packed decisions and thinking that allows you to change the altitude and velocity and trajectory of your business forever, that's what the 80/20 Summit is all about. Right now, we are in early bird pricing for another few days. So if you're interested in coming, please do come to the site and scroll down. We do have Perry Marshall speaking again. He and I will go back and forth throughout the 2 days of the summit to help you from each in our own respective perspective. Perry firmly believes that the world is moving from 80/20 to 95/5. He's going to share his perspective of how you can go from being part of the 95% that only gets 5% of the rewards to being part of the 5% that gets the 95% of rewards. The details are all on the site here. The event is happening October 4th and 5th, 2017 at the U.S. Grant Hotel in San Diego. Regular tickets are $3,000 a piece. The early bird tickets right now are $2,499. Partner tickets, $999 USD. As you can see, prices are going up in just a few days be sure to come to this site at your earliest convenience if you're interested at all to grab your ticket, because time is ticking. Thank you so much for taking a few minutes to watch this video. I hope you see how getting the skills and tools and having the guidance and having the space of getting that executive level perspective on your business, that it really is learnable, and all it takes is one or two insights and the destiny of your company can change in such exciting ways. And all it takes is just knowing where to look in your company. This is Tim Francis from the 80/20 Summit. Thanks so much for watching.